This is the Oakwyn Podcast, featuring Morgan Brown and Michael Yu.
Welcome to the Oakwyn Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Yu.
And I'm the Podfather.
And we have a very special guest today, Jackie Adler. Jackie, how you doing?
Very well, thanks. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, you know, you're looking, so Jackie, we're doing this podcast outside in my backyard. Mm-hmm. So we're roughing it today.
It's not so bad.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
It's a pretty great yard.
I think we're glamping
we're glamping right now, but Jackie has like the sun cascading on her. She looks angelic.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's kind of you to say.
Thanks. Well, Jackie was just sharing that, but you were a producer of a radio show for a little while.
Yes.
Yeah.
My husband's been a broadcaster for about 40 years, if you can believe it.
Right.
And, there was a year period where he had a show on Sirius XM.
Okay.
And I was his executive producer.
Wow. So what was your role? What were you doing?
I literally booked all the guests. I would format the show and do his research for him.
Oh my gosh, really?
Hand him the sheet and away he went.
Cool.
So we were able to get some pretty incredible guests.
Like who? Yeah.
Well, Richard Lewis from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, wow, really?
Victor Newman from Young and Restless.
Oh, really?
Eric Braeden was.
right.
And then a ton of political and obviously world leaders.
Was it hard to secure those people as guests for the show?
Surprisingly not.
Oh, really?
I found that you just have to be tenacious and go after them.
Ooh.
That if that
goes well with what you do now.
Energy, most people want to have a conversation with you.
Right.
Really? Did you ever have to I've heard that some guests won't come on unless you pay them. Did you ever have to pay anybody, or was it like?
We didn't, and we wouldn't have.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
But there are some broadcasters that it's their living, so they do ask for an honorarium or something.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes if it's a spokesperson for a charity, they'll ask for an honorarium, which is understandable.
Yeah, I think that's totally understandable. But Jackie, it's just so awesome to see you, and it's good to. I'm so thankful that you're here.
It's nice to see someone smile because I'm so used to seeing people with masks on.
Yeah.
This is one of the rare occasions where I don't have a mask on.
Right. So, well, we are outside and we're socially distanced, so we're responsible, I hope.
Big patio.
Yeah, big patio. That's it. It's really nice. But it's just good. So good to see you. So Jackie, tell us a little bit about your story. You know, so you're a realtor at Oakwyn, and tell us a little bit about how you got started into real estate.
Well, it's been a journey for me. I obviously started in real estate later in life than most people I work with.
Right.
But it was a natural evolution.
Okay.
So my background was marketing and communications, PR.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always had that focus on the sales aspect and generating awareness for product and showcasing products.
Right.
But I had a parallel stream throughout my life, which was designing, renovating homes.
Yeah.
I've built a home from scratch.
Wow.
I've built a cabin from scratch. So I know all the components that went into it. And so my passion was real estate related, but my profession was marketing and communications.
Right.
It was my son, Sydney, who was a real estate lawyer for several years.
Yeah.
He was the one that finally said to me, marry your passion with your skills.
Yeah.
You have to do this. You'd be a perfect real estate agent. And he right away said, there's only one brokerage that I'll let you join, and that's Oakwyn.
Wow.
And the reason being is he was seeing all the exciting things you were doing as far as marketing, your new approach to working with clients, just a different kind of real estate brokerage, which he thought would blend with my personality and my values very well.
Mm-hmm.
So it was my son that pushed me to do it.
Wow.
I was reluctant at first.
Really? You were reluctant?
I hesitated.
What was the whole thought process, when you had that, when Sid suggested it?
It's a big leap to change careers. And
it is a big, was it scary?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I have to admit it was, going through the licensing, the course, all of that. There's so much to learn.
Right.
And I take everything I do very seriously. I want to commit. I'm going to go in 100% if I do it. So yes, it took a little bit of time to get me there, But as I was working through the real estate course, I became more and more confident that, whether it was
Did it feel right?
it felt like perfectly right.
Right.
And then meeting with Oakwyn was a big step. My first meeting was with Morgan Brown.
Right.
And she made me believe that I could do it as well. So she was very focused on my personality and how that would translate to clients. So I had a lot of support. I can tell you that the moment I got my license was the proudest day professionally for me.
Oh, wow. Really?
That I knew in my heart this was it. And fortunately for me, it's just taken off like a rocket. And there's no going back now. I'm in.
Right, you're in. Yeah, you're strapped in.
Totally. This is it. And what a ride it's been.
So tell us about that ride. So getting started, getting the real estate license, tell us, put us in that place again.
So I was, as soon as I was licensed, I realized that.
How long ago was that?
Oh,
Jackie?
gosh, maybe only 5 years ago.
Yeah, 5 years ago. Right, yeah.
Something like that. But I didn't have any connections. I didn't go to school here. I didn't grow up here.
Right.
So I didn't have anyone in my database that I could
have a big
reach
network.
out to and say, I'm a realtor now. But really what happened very quickly is I just started telling everyone I met that I'm in real estate.
Right.
And I think that passion for real estate that I have, what paid off and translated to people. So the first deal I ever got.
Yeah. What was your first one?
I was sitting getting my nails done with someone I'd never met before. And he asked me what I did. So I said, I'm a realtor. And he said, so what are you excited about? So I told him I'm really excited about Squamish.
Yeah.
It's a market that I understand, that I've bought in. I saw a lot of upside there.
Yep.
So we were just talking about Squamish, and he said to me, I've always wanted to buy an investment property in Squamish.
Wow.
2 weeks later, he was my first sale.
Really? Your nail?
The second sale was a referral from him to somebody who also wanted to buy in Squamish. And my third deal was my hairdresser's boyfriend.
Really?
And the fourth deal was my neighbor.
Wow.
And it just sort of snowballed from there.
Yeah.
I've gotten listings just by talking to people in elevators or parking lots or whatever, and just telling them about what I do. And so, it seems weird now, but still, almost all my business is referrals or recommendations or repeats.
Yeah. Well, your heart's really on your sleeve. That's something I notice about Jackie. Your heart is really on your sleeve. And when you speak with people, it's with so much, it's just so genuine and it just, so authentic in that sense. But, I want to just kind of, so it's just meeting people and talking, how do you begin those conversations? Is it intentional or is it just really getting to know them?
I think it's just being authentic. And one of the great things about real estate, whatever your personality is, whatever your experience is, there's a place for you in real estate. There are people that will relate to you and connect to you with you. And I think that's really important. But for me, it's just being genuine for sure. And I do love meeting people.
Right.
And as much as we can focus sometimes on talking about real estate in terms of deals or transactions, it's a people business.
Right.
People are inviting you in to share what can be a monumental decision. They're making a very personal decision in their life. And so that's quite an honor. But it's just striking up real conversations. And the great thing about living in BC, everyone wants to talk about real estate.
Yeah, it's
you mention you're a realtor, you're going to have a conversation.
Right.
People are going to ask you about the market
and
what you're excited about. So
yeah, for sure. So where did that love of people come from? Was it something that you've always had? Was it a family thing or?
I think so. I'm a combination of both introvert and extrovert.
Okay.
So I think what I do have
it's confusing.
Is I'm very happy on my own, having time by myself. And then I do love engaging with people too. So, but I think it's just an appreciation for other people and just a sincere compassion for what other people go through. So I can't explain where it comes from.
Well, I think you are compassionate because you love animals.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you're like an animal activist in a sense. Yeah. So like how have you been able to explore that side of, of your, things on yourself? Maybe you can share
Real
a little
estate
bit.
has
Yeah.
been, sometimes I'm asked what my motivation is, because obviously there's long days doing a lot
Right.
of work. I don't know when I'm taking days off
Yeah.
sometimes. And one of my motivators is that I want to be empowered so that I can help my community and help causes I care about.
Right.
That's right there at the core of what pushes me to get up early every morning and keep going and getting things done. So animal rights is a huge one for me. That comes directly from my mother, who's since passed away, but she was a wonderful lady. She was kind and funny. I never heard her say a bad thing about a person in my life. She was just one of those people that never asked for the spotlight, put it all on other people.
Right.
But one of the things that she had, which was a constant thread throughout her life, was her love of all animals. And even though she wasn't very empowered to help, she would do anything she could if she saw an animal in need.
Right.
And bring them into our home or
really?
do whatever it
So you
was.
guys just had was it a
I
menagerie?
think at one time we had 24 cats. or
24
something.
cats?
Strays that she
Wow.
That's a lot of cats.
Yeah, that's a lot of cats.
How
yeah.
many litter boxes is that? That's a
too
lot of.
many.
Yeah. Wow.
But that was just her nature.
Right.
And so when
So
she
big
passed
heart.
away, one of the things that my son and I did was establish a prize in her name at UBC for students that are studying animal law
Right.
in law school. And we feel that, animal law and the progress in animal law will make the biggest difference for animals long term.
Yeah.
But
What are the biggest problems in that?
well, for me, it's all animals, and that includes factory farmed animals. And that's where I put a lot of my focus because I'm a vegan.
Yeah.
I was a decades-long vegetarian, but it's really driven by my concern and compassion for all animals.
Right.
And I just think that if more people knew about how intelligent, how sensitive, how wonderful all animals are, whether it's pigs, cows, chickens,
Right.
they would change, maybe not their eating habits, but they would demand the government make changes that would help protect some of these animals and the way they're treated.
I really like how you put that. So you wanted to empower yourself so that you could give more to your community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things
Where did that philosophy come from? Like, that's like an amazing kind of outlook on life. Yeah.
I think it comes from studying Buddhism a bit. I'm horrible at it, but and nonetheless, it's always been a fascinating philosophy for me.
Right.
I think that, the Dalai Lama, his teachings really resonate with me. And it really comes down to you can't help anyone else unless you're in a position to do so. And that can mean many different things. It can mean time. It can mean expertise that you're giving. And sometimes it can be monetary. Sometimes it can be just connecting people with other people that can help them. So I'm always very aware of that. I think I have a real feeling that we're privileged to live in Canada.
Yeah.
We're privileged to live in such a beautiful part of the world like BC.
Right.
I'm privileged to be successful in my career. And I feel then I have an obligation to help others when I can.
Yeah.
And at the very least, try to do as little harm as possible.
Right.
And so that's a constant way. When I wake up in the morning, I'm going into my day with those kinds of intentions and trying to do as much as I can when I can.
So how did you get into, I want to talk about Buddhism a little bit. Like, how did you get interested in that and thinking and asking those big questions, right? Like, cause you got to ask yourself some of those questions to kind of seek these, this kind of wisdom, right? So
yeah,
was it in a certain time of your life, or was it like just consistently throughout?
I think consistently throughout, I've had a sensitivity to the suffering of other beings, whatever they are. I was that kid that would walk past a some water and see a fly struggling, I can't just walk past. I got to take the fly out, dry the fly off, try and resuscitate.
CPR to the fly.
Lady that you see doing crazy things like that. I can't kill a mosquito.
Right.
It's just my nature. So it was a natural progression. And I think in just being more thoughtful about life, and I love the Buddhist philosophy around, trying your best. And if you don't get good results, then change your actions. And it wasn't so much about judgment. It was about aspiring and motivation to be just a better person, which, I have a long way to go, but I
have a long way to go, Jackie. I got some notes for you.
Sure. Yes, there's nothing like constructive criticism. But, that's what I really love about Oakwyn is it's really feels like a family to me. You guys have supported my career so much, and I have to say thank you so much. Michael, it's just such a pleasure. I go into the Oakwyn office. Everyone's got good energy. I love all my colleagues. I respect you all so much. But you've been there for me. So can I have launched my career the way I have without Oakwyn's support? I don't think so.
Oh, wow.
Oh, look at that.
That is a very nice sentiment. And I didn't give Jackie any money.
Not yet.
Not yet, exactly.
No, I'm just kidding. You know what?
The bill is coming.
It is.
For sure. You know what? It's just from our perspective, we kind of, Jackie, we share a lot of the same principles and values about, that authenticity, that care for others, that empowerment. I love that. Empowering yourself to contribute to our community is something that is I haven't heard it actually put that way before. And I really that actually it's just sinking in for me right now. And I feel like, if we have that attitude and mindset, and it's interesting because I think a lot of people seek wisdom in times of strain and stress and, trauma and stuff like that. But you kind of did that. You were seeking that consistently, and it's kind of like being a part of your life. Hey,
it's and it ebbs and flows, right? So depending on where I'm at in my life, but I feel very fortunate.
Right.
I think right now it's especially during this last year.
Yeah,
we've got to feel fortunate.
How has the last year been for you?
Remarkably, from a business perspective, unbelievable. I've been super busy, and almost all of it has been repeat clients or referrals. And then on a personal level, you have to balance that by recognizing how it's impacted so negatively for so many people.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that my son and I and a group of friends did this year that was so meaningful is we formed what's called a Circle of Hope through Rainbow Refugee. I don't know if you've heard of them.
No, share about that, please.
Rainbow Refugee is a wonderful organization that helps match sponsor communities with LGBTQ plus refugees that are in countries seeking asylum in Canada. So we had...
persecuted...
Yes.
Yeah.
They've left their homeland in many cases, their home country, and fled in some cases violence or fear of violence because they're who they love.
Right.
And so we decided that we had the means and the time to create a circle. And what's required of us as a circle is to raise money so that we can sponsor the first year of not just the application of the refugee, but their first year in Canada.
Right.
And then
help them set up for success in a new life.
So that they have a place to rent and they have
That's so
everything.
thoughtful to think not just of the getting them over here, but also
we wanted to show that we could, sometimes in these days, it can feel like there's so much happening in the world that you can't control.
Right.
And me and Sid, my son, decided we could control this. We could help one person.
Right.
And that's going to make us feel fabulous.
Right.
So we were very fortunate. We got a great group of people together.
Have
Our
you,
fundraising goal was $25,000, which is what Rainbow Refugee needed us to fundraise to make this happen. And we exceeded that already. We raised $35,000.
Amazing.
The community was super supportive. We couldn't do any events during COVID.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really just our personal appeals to people. So that was really wonderful. We have connected with a refugee. I was very honored to be the person that actually worked with him to fill out his application.
Where is he from?
From Iran originally.
Iran?
And he's currently been in Turkey for the last 6 years,
Wow.
waiting without a passport.
And
Just
what was
sort of
his
in limbo.
What was his response when, like, to this whole being sponsored essentially?
Oh my gosh, it's life changing.
Right.
He's a couple of weeks away from having his official interview with IRCC, but it's hope, and yet it's bitter. It's an odd place to be because we've raised the money. We're hopeful for his application. It hasn't been approved yet.
Right. And it's out of
so
your
we don't
control.
want to get ahead of ourselves.
Right.
But obviously he's so grateful that strangers essentially have created this opportunity to support what and these are amazing people. They're resourceful. He's been making the best of his situation in
Right.
Turkey. So I can't say that we're saving him or anything like that.
Right.
We're just giving him
An
a
opportunity.
hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Giving him some
And I
assistance.
really love the fact that you're taking a deep interest in their transformation, right? Like, and you're setting, like, not just, stop but let's like see what this first year looks like as well, because that could change everything, right?
Yeah, and one of the most important things that Rainbow Refugee has told our group is they're autonomous individuals.
Right.
So we can't put our expectations of what that first year is going to be like or what they're going to do. That's not our role. So it's been quite a learning curve for me, and especially filling out the forms for helping him fill out his application forms. But what a great honor. I mean, I love him already. I'm so 100%. Oh, I'm going to tear up just thinking about it.
Is there like a maternal feeling?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like I was saying to Cindy, I don't know what I would do if his application is denied. But I'd probably try to get on a plane and sneak on. Probably get
Put him in your
arrested.
suitcase. Yeah.
See, this is like
Turkey, but
him being accepted. This is like he's an accepted offer, but the deal hasn't gone firm yet, right? Let's bring it back to
it's
real
still
estate.
kind of like, yeah.
I don't know if I want to make that analogy.
Yeah.
But yeah. So-
Jackie, I think, and that's such an important cause too, obviously the LGBTQ community plus community is, faces such like persecution, right? And it obviously hits close home for you.
Yeah,
right?
and I think that, whether it's animal rights or human rights, it's this feeling that we win the lottery just by being born in Canada.
That is so true.
And I'm very aware of that. So, I witnessed my mom live her life not empowered to do much more. I mean, her motivation was there. And I just think, boy, if you have a success, whatever that is for you, you can do so much more. So for me, that's a driving force.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about mom. Like, you and I both love our moms.
Yes.
I think, and it was just Mother's Day, which is, interesting. And there's we're outside, so there's a little bit of a buzzing. But
Your mower guy went next door.
Yeah,
I
mower
guess.
guy went next door. But Jackie, like, so you mentioned your mom wasn't empowered. Like, what was that? Like, why?
I think it was the time. She was an older generation.
Right.
She wasn't in control of her own finances. It was a different time, a different place. And so I think that even as a woman, when she was being raised, there was different expectations, that a woman had a different role in the house. And
Right.
you sort of grow up with that. But she empowered me.
Yep.
to be a very different kind of woman, which
Yeah.
I'm very grateful.
How did she do that?
Just by always believing in me, Michael. Like no one was the biggest cheerleader. She never treated me like I had any limitations as a woman or a girl.
That's
And
unique for, for that generation.
Oh, yeah. I think she lived vicariously through me
Really?
to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Because no one would celebrate the successes like she would that I had in my life. And one of the things I'm most grateful to is even though she passed away quite unexpectedly, she got to see my start in real estate and she knew where it was going.
Yeah.
And she was
What did she
thrilled.
say about that?
Oh my gosh. She wanted to know everything that was going on in my day. And she just thought it was the most perfect fit for me.
Yeah.
So she'd be especially proud because my son is now actually doing his practical course.
Right.
He wrote his exam and he'll be a realtor in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And
So that's Sid.
yeah.
Right?
And we'll be working together.
Right.
And I think she probably saw that happening because his background was real estate
Yeah.
law.
What a great background to have.
Yeah.
And, if
yes.
you're a client and you have a law practice behind you, like, wow, right? That's so substantial.
That's such a big part of what we do is
Yeah.
writing legally enforceable
Right,
contracts
totally.
and
Yeah.
clauses.
Those
So
contracts are going to be airtight.
Yeah.
that's why I'll be working with him a lot.
Yeah, that's right.
But so, everything. But it was interesting because Sid was saying the other day, he was looking at my Instagram feed
Right.
because it's a marker of everything that you
Yeah.
do and accomplish in some sense. He saw a real change after my mother passed away.
Oh, really? How so?
My career took off. And I think that there was a part of me that was dealing with grief by being as busy as I could,
Really?
which really quickly paid off in real estate.
Right.
Or maybe it was her spirit sending me a bunch of deals to keep me going and
Right.
keep me moving on. We don't know. But whatever the case is, I use that. I think about her and I think, I don't want to waste this day. I want to live to the fullest. I want to say yes to every opportunity that comes up my way. And I want to, go in the world and try and spread as much joy as I can.
Right.
And where I can, so I think about her a lot.
Yeah. I think when you're faced with a bit of that realization that time isn't going to be forever and there's that a bit of mortality, it does. And I think it does encourage you to make different decisions, right? To choose different things and really like what Sid recognized obviously by that marker of change there. Yeah. I think that there's elements of trying to squeeze the most out of this existence that we have, right?
And also living up to what she saw my
Right.
potential would be.
Yeah.
And I think about that a lot. I'm going to try to be the woman that she saw I could be, or the success in real estate that she saw I could be, or really nurture relationships the way she expected me to.
Yeah.
So whether it's the prize in animal law or giving to animal rights causes, that to me is just a continuation of her. And I'm just the vessel for it.
Right. So the
it's
legacy
all
that
about
she
her.
started, it's
Yes. Yeah.
to continue that.
And you know that, Michael, yourself, your start in real estate had a similar motivation
Right.
and a life-changing event that kind of pushed you forward. And there's nothing like that really to be a driver, I think.
Absolutely. I think when you're put in a position where when you're put in a position that is out of your control, and it's how we react to that stimulus, right? It's how we kind of take that in and how we're going to live life differently because of what we've experienced. And I feel like that even in a tragic moment of life where we miss our loved ones so much, like trying to make the best out of life and trying to do things a bit differently so that, like you're saying, like that your legacy could be carried on. that, you know, whatever anyone believes in, like, you know, they're looking down on you and thinking like, you know, good, you know, we're proud of you. And so, like, it's kind of a nice, it's a nice way of, it's a nice perspective of thinking of things. Cause I think a lot of the times you can take it the other way where, you know, it's woe is me, like, look at this circumstance. I can't, you know, get out of it. And, you know, this is what happened to me, which is, you know, what can happen on the other side of the coin.
And I wanted to be in that space.
Oh yeah, totally.
It's so easy to be.
Okay.
I kept reminding myself though, she would not want me to be there.
Yeah.
She would want me to live my full life.
Do you think you denied some of those like kind of feelings that came out?
No, I allow myself to grieve, and you know what it's like. It can hit you just any time. My mother and I were close. We were best friends. I called her like 10 times a day. So there's a void that will always be there. And I accept and I allow myself to let those feelings come because it reminds me that she really mattered to me and she means something. So I never wanted to stop getting emotional about the loss or grieving because I'm okay feeling that because she meant so much to me.
And like, you know, I see the enthusiasm, obviously, that you're sorry, there's a weed whacker going on behind us. That's okay though. We're going to pretend like it doesn't exist.
That's right.
We're not in a studio. Your husband's probably used to being in a controlled environment, but we're in the wild.
That's right. Yes.
Not during COVID. During COVID, he's broadcasting from home.
Oh, has he? Yeah.
My dog Odell has a way of barking like crazy when I come home with excitement. And I think she's been heard on his national show a couple of times.
She has reached doggy celebrity status.
That's right.
Or she should.
Yeah.
But talking about enthusiasm, you know, when I think about real estate, it's a fun career.
Yeah.
I'm having the time of my life. And, you know, we do long hours.
Right.
We work through the weekends. We have to be available for our clients when they're available.
Right.
And yet I think, you know, for me, it's been just such a perfect fit because it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, it is. That's a good way of perspective, a lifestyle. So what's the best part of it?
There isn't one, but I think seeing my clients happy is a huge motivator for me. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing like handing over keys to someone who's bought their first home or someone who had to sell because of a situation and you've given them relief, or someone who's now in their dream home.
Sure.
To be able to share those special moments is a privilege.
Right.
But there's so much about it I love. I love staging. I love design. I love
the artistry of it, the creativity of it.
I love going into a listing and just even taking a few pieces, switching them up and making it present better for photos. I love the just spending time with my clients. You know, I often hear from my buyer clients when we get a firm deal, oh no, what are we going to do next weekend? We're not going to see you. And I share that sentiment because we have so much fun.
Yeah.
It's such a serious transaction. It's a weighty thing. And yet we're able to connect as human beings and have a good time doing it too. So there's a serious aspect, but there's also the fun. So for me, it's my social life. It's my
So you really incorporated it into your lifestyle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I would look at houses even if I wasn't a realtor. It's just, you know, I find the whole thing so invigorating.
What's the bad side of it? Like, has it ever impacted you negatively?
I think you can get different energy from different people.
Okay.
I think sometimes I meet people, whether it's other agents, rarely, but on occasion, that maybe have had bad experiences happen to them.
Right.
And it's recognizing that it's not directed at me, that it's probably based on something that's happened to them in the past. And trying to work around that. I've been very fortunate to be able to
What's an example of that? But you don't have to name names, of course.
Yeah, no.
You can if you want, though.
Braden Dukowski.
But you know, there's a lot riding on a lot of deals. So sometimes you'll get agent, you know, interactions that are just a little more abrupt or assertive than need be. I'm a big believer that goodwill goes a long way. We're very lucky in our industry that almost everyone we work with is amazing. And I respect that so many other agents are hardworking. They do their due diligence. They really care about their clients. But in anything, you're going to find that odd situation. There's nothing in particular, but I try and always remember that it can be high pressure for people. This is people's livelihoods. But also for clients, when you're committed to your client, you want the very best.
Yeah.
So I try and keep that in my mind. I think the disappointing thing or maybe a negative in a hot market like we've been experiencing recently, you have a lot of buyers making offers in a multiple offer situation. And so sometimes that can lead, to disappointment. And it's keeping them going forward and positive, knowing that this doesn't sustain itself. This will change, that there will be opportunities, but just navigating some of the emotions that go with that is probably a part of it that I take seriously, but maybe it's not as fun as some other parts.
So if you're go ahead.
I was just going to say, fortunately for me, a lot of my buyers that were missing out a couple of weeks ago are now getting their offers accepted and getting where they need to be.
Yeah. So nothing's forever, right? As we know, and looking at the big picture is really important, and providing that objectivity is something that's key. And if you're, if you don't have that perspective, it makes it really challenging to be able to operate, when people are disappointed and things like that. So I think that's a really important lesson for people to learn. If you were to make a change, like in our industry, or a change in something, what would you change, Jackie?
I really don't, put the whole weight of the industry on my shoulders. I don't know. I think that, we're really fortunate, whether it's the support we get from council or the board or our brokerages, that we are given the support structure we need. I think I'm big on consumer protections and more disclosures. I think that's really great. I think the more that we can educate the public about the role that realtors play and how they can protect them and inform them to make the best decision, I think that's really important. So I don't look at it as anything I would change. I'm having the time of my life, and I think that there's, real estate is very exciting in BC, and will probably continue to be.
So you've built what we call a relationship referral-based business, Jackie, which is kind of like, there's a few different types. Now, like, let's say, you were to give some of the strengths of your business, or some of the secret sauce of the Jackie Adler from a profession, a business side, what would be some of those things?
Stay in touch with your past clients. They're your best opportunity to generate future business. And that can be that they're going through a cycle where they're now selling. They bought with you a couple of years ago.
How do you do that?
I routinely do a newsletter to all my contacts monthly to keep them informed about the market. And to share with them my insights in the market and current conditions.
Monthly newsletter.
Also sharing stats and stuff like that. But I establish relationships with my clients that are true friendships. So it's very easy for me to be phoning, texting, how are you doing? Did you sell that? Did you get the job? Happy birthday. So it's just staying in touch with people that you've connected with in such an important part of their life. So
and I think that's a big point, that for a relationship and a referral-based business, like, you're making these contacts without an expectation that you're going to get an immediate return or anything like that. It's just really to maintain. Oh my gosh, Braden, it's going. This is going to be fun to edit, my friend.
I know. I'm just
Braden's just
right
sweating right now. And it's going to come out perfect. But on our side, we can hear a little bit of muffling on the side. But anyways, so without that expectation for an immediate result, right? And is that something that, is there a way that you organize that, or is it pretty organic?
It's very, we're organized.
Right.
I have systems
Yeah.
because my clients need me to be fully present when I'm with them
Right.
and focused on their needs. So we do have systems in place because I never want to get so busy that I don't remember what's important.
Right.
And so I do have support. I have an assistant that helps me as well.
She's great, by the way.
She is amazing. Kylan, shout out.
Yeah.
So I'm fortunate. I believe in having the systems in place, but I just naturally will be driving and think, what's happening with them? I wonder what they're doing. Did they have the baby?
Right.
Did they renovate? Did they put that deck in? And I'll just call. And I think some of those calls lead to future business. The other thing is I'm not afraid to ask my clients if they've had a good experience for recommendation or referrals. And I always make sure they know that if they refer me to a friend, I'm going to have time for their friend.
That's great.
No problem. So I just make it a priority.
Yeah.
But I've been very fortunate to be able to work with great people.
Right.
And then also to have them put their faith in me in referring me to their friends or family.
Okay. So, Jackie, you got an assistant. So at what point in your business did you get one? Like, you started only 5 years ago, and that's kind of like, and if you don't mind sharing with us openly, like, so the trajectory, you got started in, did you have, you were selling right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate.
I remember.
Really
I was like, holy cow, Jackie's selling.
Well, I gave myself markers because I'm a little older than some realtors. I feel I have to compress everything in the first 5 years. Maybe I would take 10 years to do if I was, younger. But I set really strong markers, and I told myself,
what were those markers?
I want to be Medallion Club every year.
And you were a Medallion in your first year, was it? Were you? No.
I was a partial first year, so I didn't get it.
Right.
And I went to the first Oakwyn sales event and didn't get an award. And I said to my son, next year I'm coming here and I'm getting an award. And I did.
Yeah.
And so, for me, it's, what's great about real estate is I'm not competing with other agents.
Right.
I'm not competing with anyone in the brokerage.
Yep.
I compete with myself every morning.
Right.
Am I motivated to get up and work? Yeah. And if I do, I'm going to see the rewards.
Yeah.
But I have to have goals. And for me, it's those Medallion markers are really important to keep me focused every day to get up and work. So, I wanted to be Medallion for the first 5 years, Master Medallion. Yeah. Last year, I wanted to be top producer for Oakwyn. Got that. Now my next goal is a master. And, those are fun goals. Yeah. And it's more, again, I'm competing with myself. Yeah. I'm so strange. I'll start the year with a sales goal. Right. And then if I get close to it, then I'll up it.
Moving target, right? Yeah.
It always goes up. So, but I just want to know that I'm giving my best.
Keeping to your progress is continuing to happen, right?
And that's another fun part of this industry is you can always be learning.
Right. There's no ceiling. Yeah.
No. Yeah. I know that I'm going to be better for my clients if I keep taking courses and keep becoming, whether it's a specialist of a certain area or building or process or whatever. So I try and take as many courses as I can. It really spurs me on.
Sure. So at what point, because I think a lot of agents, they get busy up to a certain degree and then they hesitate to hire, like to start a team or hesitate to hire an assistant. At what point did you decide that was important for you? And was it a numbers thing? Was it a time thing? What was it?
It was, I want to give the best to my clients and I'm feeling tired. Now's the time because I didn't want, I was working, till 11:30 at night, up at 5:30, and those are long days. And I felt if I felt I was tired in the presence of a client, I wasn't giving them my full attention. Right. That was when I made the decision that I have to get support now. Sure. So able to run for a while, and you naturally have to. Mm-hmm. But I was at a point where I knew I couldn't grow unless I had support. Right. Because I would have to give up on something, and I wasn't willing to give up on the relationships that I have with clients and the time that I give them. So.
Yeah, and I think that's an important realization to have, and it's it's a bit of a risk to take too, to hire people.
It's been the best decision I ever made. And my business has grown directly as a result of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think now just the number of sales, just the number of contacts, because I have the time to, again, refocus on my clients and their needs, which leads to more business. So instead of doing a bunch of paperwork, I'm talking to a client.
Right.
So it gives me the freedom. I should have done it sooner.
Actually. Yeah, you should have done it sooner.
I should have done it sooner. But I'm really, wonderfully happy with the assistant I have. She's amazing. And she's so intuitive and attentive to what I need.
Right.
And also very client focused. So it's all about our clients.
And you're expanding your team. Obviously, your son Sid is going to be joining you as well as an agent.
We're going to work in concert together.
Right.
I'm so excited about that.
So is there any trepidation on your behalf at all, like working in family, like with family?
Not in this case, because we're
you guys are close.
Yeah, we're not like mom and son in the traditional sense.
Right.
We're really always partners and sharing what we're doing and supporting each other.
Yeah.
He really expects that I can do amazing things. And that's always pushed me on too. It's like, you can just do this. And so I know that he motivates me as well.
Right.
But I think he's going to bring such strengths to it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He's got just this incredible mind, and his legal background and training will definitely help.
Yeah. And it's, I've only seen the rosy side of family business. Everyone always talks about like families tumbling and like, kind of getting torn to bits because they were working together. But, I've only seen the positive of it.
Well, you and Arlene are a great example of that. So it's also respecting that you're not the same.
Right.
And you'll bring different approach and skills to it.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see what he's going to do.
Yeah. And I'm a really big proponent of Arlene's here. Speak of the family. Arlene just came to my backyard. So
Arlene is one of my favorite people in the whole world. Just so you know. So we have different managing brokers, and Arlene is like the person I go to when it's super serious. When
it gets real.
If I make a mistake, I'm like, really, it's going to be a big screw up.
Yeah.
So I reserve her for the very serious stuff.
You might say she's your old stump.
No, I won't say that.
That's what Michael said.
I get a joke with her a little bit more. It's a family.
That's true. That's true. All right.
I'm scared of Arlene too, so I'm not
That's good. She breeds a culture of fear.
Yeah.
Good for her.
That's great.
Yeah, and you know what, Jackie? I think, if you can believe it, it's been almost an hour. So time's just flown by. But let's make a rewind and let's say you're getting started in real estate, or like the Jackie, you're going to tell the Jackie in the first year some bits of advice to bring her through. What would you tell her?
Tell everyone you're a realtor, and don't spend as much money on advertising in the traditional sense. Farm your little area to start, which is usually where you live.
Right.
And focus one building at a time. Trying to spend money, say, on a transit ad that reaches a broader audience.
Right.
Probably not the best return on investment when you're starting.
Yep.
Post drop your own area, door knock, talk to people you know. In my case, most of my deals will come from people I know or are meeting this week.
Right.
So, I would change that for sure.
Yeah. And I think on that note, guys, this is such a great podcast, and I got to, I always love hanging out with Jackie.
You're just witnessing what we talk about at dinner.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right. Dinner talk. Yeah. We should have.
It's the only reason I'm doing this podcast is because she is a great cook. Priya,
right, Priya, my wife.
You are a great host.
Oh, no. And Jackie, it's been a pleasure having you a part of the podcast and part of our community. You're just an awesome member, like an Oakwynite, an ambassador of us, and what we kind of represent is, someone with such a kind heart, genuine, authentic, and you just you're a great example to the rest of us at the company too. Where your moral compass and also just how you treat people as well. And so I really respect that, and I'm proud of you for all your accomplishments too, because it's not easy what you've done. To switch careers midstream, to embrace it with all your heart, soul, energy, and effort, and to really defend, advocate, guide, and advise your clients the way you do, and being so just lovely all the way through. So, on that note, guys, thanks so much, Jackie, for being part of the podcast.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And for your kind words, which I could turn back on you 100%.
And thank you guys so much for listening to the Oakwyn podcast featuring Jackie Adler. If you've enjoyed this podcast, guys, please rate it 5 out of 5 on the podcast platform you're listening to it on. And if you are interested in Oakwyn, and feel free to reach out to us at oakwyn.com/join and type in the message box
Pod 2021.
Pod 2021, and maybe you'll be able to join Jackie and I in our deep conversations about Buddhism and motherhood and all that kind of stuff.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You talk about motherhood. Okay, all right, that's cool.
All right. And on that note, guys, thanks so much for listening. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.